I'm going to divide you into quarters. Top left, this is your instruction. You're going to chant, "Give me love or give me death." Top right, "Food and freedom now. I want to vote for pink unicorns." Bottom right, "Hey, I found a cure for cancer." All of you, all at once, your line only until I ask you to stop and go. Okay, whoa. That is not a beautiful chaos. It's a cacophony of noise, and it's a really difficult thing to navigate. It's the thing that we're greeted with each and every single day as we wake up and we reach for our smartphones. But what we are doing is opening a gateway into our lives. And we're being subjected to all of this sort of stuff. It's really the attention economy, if you like. And it's affecting every single aspect of our lives. Bezos's recipe talks about a culture that hears the data that sometimes whispers and sometimes screams. In the same way as news and with data and information, if all you're paying attention to is the stuff that is screaming, you really are going to miss the point more often than not, because the headlines are not reality. Social media is not reality. What you're seeing in news is a very important part of reality, but it's not the reality. This is the World Uncertainty Index. 1990, or thereabouts. You see a period, the first decade of the 2000s, this remarkable low volatility, in fact. It started getting hairier around the dot-com bubble bursting and, of course, 9/11. Various events after that, of course, the invasion then of Iraq. The global financial crisis had its moments. We had the Greek credit crisis. There was Brexit. There was the COVID crisis, leading to the biggest one of all, the biggest spike of all. More recently, Ukraine and Gaza. But all of these events are really interesting in that, from a behavioral point of view, what humans tend to do is panic into the crisis. And you will all have taken the calls when there is something going horribly awry in the world. And you've got people saying to you, "What must I do?" And you give them the sage advice that the best thing to do often is nothing. But they don't believe you. Introduce them to the World Uncertainty Index. Also, demonstrate to them that despite all of this volatility, there's a little blue line that you can trust and follow. And that is the S&P 500 over time. A number from any one of you as to what the S&P 500 has done since Billy Joel put pen to paper to now, in percentage terms. Shout a number. 500%. That's quite ambitious. Just in index terms, 1,508%. You add dividends and reinvesting dividends into that, and you can double it. As Kara Swisher, who's an American journalist, says, people now see what they believe rather than believe what they see. Less elegantly put, perhaps, in Brandolini's principle, otherwise known as the bullshit asymmetry principle. And that is that the amount of effort that it takes to refute bullshit is an order of magnitude bigger than is needed to produce it. Once you believe something, to shift it out of your belief system is an incredibly difficult thing to do. There's a fancy word for it, apostatize. To get somebody to apostatize is astonishingly difficult. I have a very firm contention that the future will belong to those who can navigate ambiguity. So when you're faced with a panicked client and you're feeling equally panicky because you're watching the same news programs that they're watching, you're listening to the same bulletins that they're watching, you're reading the same publications that they're reading, why do I think the way I do? Am I able to zoom out rather than get too intimately involved in the noise and the chaos and the uncertainty? There's Gavin Rain pretending to put the finishing touches to a painting. I think he does it very effectively. He's something of an actor. But his view, you need to step back, and that's the point of his pointillism. If you're able to step back from the noise, the chaos, and the uncertainty, if you're able to understand what is right to ignore, not what everyone else is focusing on, you're more likely to see the thin blue line between fear, chaos, and uncertainty, and trust that with a couple of abominable periods in time, in the fullness of time, humanity and human behavior rises above the emotion and the chaos of the now and builds better outcomes
for the future.